kidding.
Hello.
Hello, and we're back with another episode of Two Straws. Miss World Traveler, how are things going?
What can I say?
You're just so fancy.
I know. Sorry for the hiatus, guys. I had to do some traveling.
It was Angela's fault.
It was my fault for being extremely cultured and, acting like a rich bitch after my win. I was like, you know what? I should spend some of that money. You know?
You should, you should.
Yeah, because who knows how long we're going to be here. Like, as the kids say, YOLO.
Can't take it with you.
Exactly. So what are you going to do? Not having kids anytime soon. Maybe we could get Adam to do one of those, like, what was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie when he got pregnant? Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Maybe we can get Adam to do that for me one day. Like,
just a male surrogate. I mean, why not?
Yeah,
we can, we can clone things.
Put
we
these
can
men
bring
to work.
prehistoric animals back from the dead. Why not?
Exactly, right? Like, when did that happen, though? Are we doing that?
No, I think we're doing that.
Holy shit.
I may have seen it on Instagram, so I can't really, vouch for its validity.
It was a picture of Jurassic Park. Like,
no, I swear. But I swear, I think I saw some sort of headline. I'm going to Google that while you keep talking.
I think you're right, because I've definitely seen something like that, and I was like, oh damn, we're living through Jurassic Park. Anytime there's a movie made of new technology that doesn't exist yet, usually in the next 30 years it becomes normal. Like I feel like for a while, like, cell phones and holographic things were in movies in the 80s, and then suddenly they became a thing. We have hoverboards now, like little shit like that.
Yeah,
did you find it?
They're talking about it. I got distracted while you were talking. I was trying to be present and search at the same time. Can't do it.
Yeah, it's a skill.
14 extinct animals that could be resurrected.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is Brontosaurus one of them? That's my favorite.
No. What's the woolly mammoth?
No way. Yeah. Damn.
Oh, it says October 29th, 2021, scientists have revived ancient virus.
Oh,
long
great.
Lost plants.
Was that like before or after COVID?
That might be what they're talking
Y'all
about.
need to stop. That's where monkeypox came from, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah. It
Outbreak,
says that
the movie. Outbreak started, then monkeypox popped up 30 years later. Dude, I think I'm on to something.
They're playing tricks with us. They're fucking with us, basically.
Yo, sci-fi is only sci. It's not fi. Sci real. Oh, gosh.
Oh, man.
Well, let's talk about MMA, I guess. We should, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's
whatever.
why we're here.
Whatever.
Some
it's our
girl
show. We can talk about whatever we want.
Some girl MMA talk. There were some cool fights in Paris. There was only one chick fight on the Paris card, but I kind of liked the fact that the one of the two girls that fought twerked.
She twerked at weigh-ins.
She twerked at weigh-ins, and I'm usually like anti-twerk. Like, I think that twerking is like a cheap way to get laughs or whatever, or get likes and follows. But if you do like a good twerk, like a hip hop music video level twerk, then I gotta stand. And it was a good twerk. It was a really nice twerk. You could tell she had a lot of control over both butt cheeks, and her lower back, something that I cannot do. So kudos to her. But one thing that kind of made me sad was she went and she fought, and she ended up losing to someone who just had a lot of experience. Stephanie Egger. Yeah, and people were giving her shit for twerking on the scale, and it really just pisses me off because it's almost like people don't want you to have fun unless you win. You know what I mean? Like, she was going to lose whether she twerked or not. So why can't the girl have fun before the inevitable happens? You know what I mean? like it didn't affect whether she won or lost. All it did was let her have a little fun before she had to go in and get into a fist fight.
Well, one, I just watched the twerk video, and you are absolutely correct.
Right?
There's great control. My lower back cannot do that.
She could do one butt cheek at a time.
She definitely could. She made it look good. It
And
wasn't
she makes
like,
it go wobble, wobble, wobble. Like when I try to twerk, it just goes move, move. Like that's not.
Give yourself more credit than that. I see you twerk in the hall all the time with Butcher. You do a great job.
It doesn't give me the jiggle that I want.
She
though.
had some junk back there.
She had some jigglage. Yeah, it stays jiggling moments after the move, which is what you want. You want reverberage to happen. So I was very impressed.
I've got to say that's a twerk that I don't mind seeing. It was a good twerk.
It wasn't a lazy twerk.
It was not a lazy twerk, and it wasn't like a stripper like nasty like.
It was
kind of anything. Not that strippers are nasty. I love strippers. Don't get that twisted.
It wasn't a thirsty twerk.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you for helping me out.
Yes.
It was a great twerk, and I agree. I think people should have fun. It's like what's wrong with it? Why can't we have a little fun? Why can't you wear some costumes and get-ups to weigh-ins?
Right?
You know, you're going in a battle and you like to keep it lighthearted with your costumes and your cosplay, and why not?
Yeah, let her have fun.
So much restriction. Meanwhile, this last weekend, Chimaev, goes up on the scale and misses weight by 8 pounds.
Yeah.
7.5, whatever it was.
By a whole darn.
That
was a whole darn. I'm bringing it back.
By a lot of weight, proceeds to have, no humility about it or apologies about it, and just flips everybody off and says, hey, it's not that bad. And everybody's still rooting for him. So,
yeah.
let the girl twerk.
Let the girl twerk. Just because you lose doesn't mean you can't have fun and twerk and flip people off and do all the hood ratchet shit that you like to do. Win or lose, you should be able to do it no matter what.
Let us live.
Let us live. We're just fighters.
Girls just want to have fun.
Exactly. Twerks never hurt nobody. But it was a good introduction to her personality, at least. Edgar got the win. It was a really slick armbar finish. And then they kind of got the crowd excited about the rest of the fight card. It was a crazy fight card. Those and the fans, they really just were eating it all up.
So I was going to ask you about that, because this is the first UFC that was in Paris. MMA is kind of gaining popularity over there, but not really a hugely recognized sport other sports over there. So tell me about the audience and how well it was received.
They were very much pro countrymen. So anytime a French fighter walked out, and I think it was almost predominantly France versus somebody.
I believe so.
And every time a French fighter walked out, the crowd roared. It was crazy. They were treating it like a football show, a football game. One of those, soccer things. What do you call them? Matches. Yeah, they treated it like that. They were screaming, they were excited, they were chanting things I didn't know because they were in French, but everyone else knew it. And they would, at one point, they ended up singing the national anthem while Cyril Gane was fighting Tai Tuivasa. So it was a pretty epic.
I bet that was really freaking special.
Yeah, it was a pretty epic experience. I can only imagine what Cyril Gane felt as he's fighting, and he heard that, of all the things that you could block out, someone singing the national anthem while you're fighting, that pierces through. Every
single person in that stadium was there to support you and showing their love and support.
Yeah,
that's got to feel amazing.
Yeah,
that's what I really think sometimes the U.S. misses with getting behind their countrymen. Not just sometimes, but getting behind their countrymen. Other countries love their people and really get behind them. And in a way
don't give a fuck.
And I mean that, I have not experienced here.
I think it's, I don't know, for some reason, maybe with the chick fights, for some reason, they always seem to be rooting for the girl from another country. It's they're into the accent or something. She's exotic.
I mean, that ups your attractive points and your marketability astronomically.
Dude, I need to just start speaking with a French accent. You think that would work for me? Oh, hello, Jessica. You look so beautiful today. You look like a petite flower.
Oh my God, I love you. I love you. Yes, I'm buying whatever you're selling.
Damn. Okay. All right. French Ange is coming. I need more fans. No. Yeah. I think with women you see that more. Like they're rooting for the other girl because I don't know, they got turned down by too many American girls in their past or something. So
their DM messages and dick pics were not opened or read or responded to.
No, exactly. So fuck American girls.
Yeah, basically.
That's
what it comes down to.
Meanwhile, Moros is over there like sending hard eyes and like, no, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But yeah, I don't know. There's a thing with the women, but I do feel like people get behind their countrymen when it's like a U.S. male fighter versus a guy from another country, unless they're a huge star.
Yeah, I hear the crowd chanting USA.
Yeah,
USA.
Like,
I mean, that's something.
You mentioned the Chimaev fight. They were booing him like crazy. More so for his antics than anything, but the cheers for Kevin Holland were pretty loud.
Okay, so I think we should talk about all of the happenings that led up to. There was so much stuff.
Yeah,
but
fuck UFC Paris is old news.
Yeah, okay.
It was
UFC Paris
fun.
is in the past.
I ate snails. We went to the catacombs, which is really weird. Existential. What is it? I had like an existential crisis walking through the tomb with like all these dead people.
Yeah,
pretty much staring at you.
Did you feel the energy?
I think I just felt like they were being disrespected, like because it's human skulls, but every now and then you'll come across a design like the skulls are designed as a heart, and then they have femurs, like they have femurs and like arm bones and shit that are separating the skulls, so it looks like a heart design. And I'm like, come on, dog! Like, wouldn't you be pissed if you died and someone put your skull in a heart design?
Well, yes. Actually, I would. So are those the original, are they actual, like, skulls and femurs from...
They're all people. Yeah, they're all real bones.
They're not, like, made...
These are not cast and remade. Like, these are actual bones of human beings. Like, and I think when they said something like a few... Shit, I can't even remember. Like a few 100,000, I think, bodies are buried in the catacombs, and you only get to walk through a small section. I think you get lost down there if you walk through too much of it. But it used to be a limestone mine, and then they started shoving bodies down there because they were running out of space in the graveyards. And then eventually someone had the bright idea to excavate the bodies and keep record of where the bodies were laid, but also make designs from them. So
I mean, you can look at it like that, or you can look at it like, hey, we're trying to make something beautiful out of something, not so beautiful.
I think I just thought YOLO, like, because eventually you might end up in fucking flower design in somebody's backyard. So might as well have fun. But anyway, I digress. We did a bunch of stuff, saw the Eiffel Tower, had some romantic dinners, and then we made it back home. So yeah, let's talk about 279.
UFC 279 was a shit show, basically. But oddly enough, the mixed matching of the opponents and everything that took place, like, it kind of ended up the way that I preferred it to happen.
It was kind of like the catacombs. You took a shit show, like,
and you made a heart with it.
Yeah.
You made it beautiful.
You made it beautiful. You made it what everyone wanted to see.
I mean, especially with the Diaz versus Ferguson fight. Mm-hmm. I was really excited about that because I think those are two people that should have fought and have never, ended up crossing paths for one reason or another. Yeah. But I think that was a really exciting fight to happen. I was really rooting for, Holland versus, asshole. The bad guy.
The villain. He's a villain now.
I just love that role.
Yeah, he fell into it mad easy. It's like putting on a good fitting pair of jeans. He was just like, oh, this fits. Like, I love it.
So nice. Why haven't I ever tried this before? Oh my gosh, I'm never going back.
Yeah.
It's like my high-waisted jeans. I'll never wear a low cut again.
Yeah, right?
Like why did they force that upon us?
The muffin like popping out of there. Like,
no, we just want to get
Yeah. Whose lower abs are always flat? Like, who
Not
the
mine.
Fuck that girl. Like, fuck that girl. They designed lowriders.
She's stupid. And she's hungry all the time.
She is hungry. She's doing so many leg raises every day just to fit in those jeans. So yeah, Chimaev got himself some high rise or high rise leggings, and he's living it up. He's living his best life as a villain.
Well, and now his coach has gone on the record and said he doesn't like the weight cutting part. I think we're going to stay up at 185.
Good.
So I mean that could actually make a really interesting kind of addition to that weight class.
Yeah,
and I mean he's a huge 170 pounder, and I think that 185 might be a better fit for him.
For sure. I mean, he's had so many fights fall through, and you have to think part of that was because it was so focused on staying small or getting small. And I've seen that with a lot of like teammates and stuff, that if you're so focused on being small, a lot of times it takes away from your health, your ability to recover from little injuries that you have during fight camp. Like, it helps to have that extra weight on you, that extra cushion.
It does. And I mean, if your whole focus is making weight, like what energy do you actually have to focus on the fight and, put that energy into training and game planning and staying healthy. It's, it's a give and take, but there is something to be said. I mean, this is why people are still cutting so much weight, because it really is an advantage.
I mean, he looks really so big.
He's huge. And
people keep mentioning that Kevin Holland and Chimaev weighed in about the same weight. But Kevin Holland is a natural 170er. Chimaev is not. He is a big boy. So when they both rehydrated, Holland looked like he was about the same size. Chimaev looked like he was 30 pounds bigger. He was big in there. And when he went for that initial shot.
You mean, I'm sorry, when he said, hey, let's touch gloves and then fake touch glove. No, we're going to talk about this. This, I do not like it. I don't like it. I'm sorry, no. We're going to talk about this.
Jess, talk your shit. Go on.
God, I wish I could hair flip with this wire.
You have the table. Or the floor, sorry.
Thank you. No, he did some shady stuff. And I mean, it was going to be a tough fight for Holland. It was. I'm not saying that. However, Holland spent from the beginning to the end, and it was a short fight, trying to dig himself out of a hole because he thought that they were going to touch gloves, and he got faked out.
Yeah.
Chimaev went for a glove touch, faked it, and shot in, and that was the start of the end.
Yeah.
I've seen this before in amateur fights. There's this one girl, I cannot remember her name. She was a southpaw, and I cornered my friend against her, and she was like a notorious, like, hey, I want to touch gloves. And she'd come in swinging with a big overhand.
Damn.
And she dropped a girl that way.
Wow.
And I told my teammate, I was like, we're not touching gloves. I don't care what she says, because my girl's a good sport. She's like happy to be there. Happy to let's go. Let's put on a good show. No. Because people are shady like that. We don't do that.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. And
Tito Ortiz.
Is he the one that said that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he was the first, but I distinctly remember him saying that.
Okay. First person ever told me that was Eddie Alvarez. But I think he probably quoted Tito, because I was explaining how I was embarrassed that I grabbed the fence in my tough fight.
Dude, everybody a time or two does something unintentionally dirty.
And I don't even think I knew it was cheating at the time.
It is a reflex.
I was just like, oh, the fence is there. I can use it to get myself.
I mean, why not do it until they tell you not to?
And then they told me not to. I was like, oh, my bad. And I got choked out. So instant karma for me, at least, when I cheated. But It was insane. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, ref. And then I felt the arm wrap around my neck and I was like, fuck. Shouldn't have been paying attention to the ref.
You live and you learn.
Yes.
You live and you learn.
And you live to fight another day. But a lot of people are trying to say that Chimaev was feigning a jab, and that's why thing happened. But it wasn't even that moment. It was the conversation beforehand. So a lot of non-fighters don't know this, but there is a conversation that happens beforehand. Yeah, they're like, hey, bro, you wanna? Yes, no, and then you can see in the video that Kevin Holland went there. Yeah, for sure, because their initial kind of handshake bro moment that was gonna happen got interrupted by the security because they know they almost fought a bunch of times behind stage. So the security is like, nah, y'all aren't touching until the fight starts. So you can see Kevin Holland was like, yeah, sure, I'll touch gloves. Yeah, sure. So that is the moment that you knew they were gonna touch gloves. That's the moment, not just when they come out, but the moment before where you see the yes or the no. I always go,
yeah, we're not doing that.
I try to not be too friendly with it too. I'm just like, I don't know if that like does anything like intimidation wise, probably not. But I'm just like, fuck your glove.
Excuse me, then. No
glove. So there's that famous moment that they were showing in the Nate Diaz versus Cowboy Cerrone fight. And before the fight starts, Cerrone gives Diaz the finger, like instead of touching gloves. So like they go back to the corners. They have like 2 hard rounds. I think it was a 3-round fight, but they have 2 hard rounds. It's like everyone's cheering, everyone's into it. And then Cerrone goes, "You want to touch gloves, bro?" At the end of before the 3rd round starts. And Diaz just goes, that's what Kevin Holland should have done.
I love me some Nate Diaz.
Dude, he don't fuck around.
He's the fucking man.
He just has no filter. And that's the best one because he's not like a bad guy or like a shitty person or anything. No. He just has no filter. He says what he thinks. He's awesome. When he likes you, he's awesome. When he doesn't like you, you know it. Like it really is fun. Yeah. It really is fun to watch him perform. I'm going to be sad to see him go.
I am too.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's really nice to see a fighter doing what they want, how they want it.
Yeah.
And, sometimes in, whatever level you're at, it's not that easy. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't get out the way you want to. You don't get to do things on your terms. Mm-hmm. You kind of bend to the will of the organization that you work for. And there's always something that, is challenging in that aspect. So I think it's really cool that he's, he made his declaration.
Yeah.
He fought a great fight on his exit.
Yeah.
And now he's, going to go pursue boxing. And if he wants to come back to MMA, he can. If he wants to stay in boxing, he can. He can do whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really freaking cool position to be in.
Yeah.
For a fighter, for anyone really. But sure. Especially for a fighter, because this can be a really ruthless, cutthroat, brutal place to be.
I mean, look at who he's supposed to fight on his final fight, And it's almost like the universe came down and was like, you know what? That's not going to happen.
That's not how it's going to go.
We're not playing this game. No.
No.
Give the legend the fight that he deserves versus a legend versus an OG, someone who's in the same boat as him, and we'll see who the better man is. Yeah. At this point of their career, No,
I think it was a great fight. I think it was the fight that it should have been in the first place, for sure.
For sure. And how do you like that little rest on the cage sidekick?
I just saw, I immediately thought of Nick Diaz, his brother, versus Anderson Silva.
Yes.
When Nick Diaz, laid down in the middle of the octagon and took a little cat nap.
Siesta.
Took a little cat nap. And then got up. Those guys do whatever they want. And I love that about them. It's just, and you just got to love them for it because it's just who they are. And they do what they want when they want it. And I love it.
That's why they have so many fans, It's not Absolutely. About wins or losses. It's about the performance and it's about resonating with people, And
no matter what, those guys come to fight.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Oh yeah.
Every single time they come to fight.
Yes. so long. Nate, hope to see you killing it outside of the UFC, and your boxing career and your promotion and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does for sure.
Yeah,
I'm always a fan of his.
Yeah. So, going back to the Chimaev Holland fight, what did you see technique wise that was really good? Let's ignore the fake glove tap, but
I don't know if I can.
It was very hard. It's very hard, but we're gonna try. But once he got a hold of Kevin Holland, like that dude's good on the ground. Like
he is impressive. I mean, the hype it's real. You know, he is a really impressive fighter. He puts people away with his punches. He can out-grapple people. We saw him go through a war with Gilbert Burns where he was really like battle tested.
Yeah.
Which, you know, sometimes when you see fighters that, you know, can put people away so quickly and haven't made it out of like the first like 2 minute of a round, sometimes you can see them just break down because like their confidence just go with it as the minutes keep going and the rounds keep going. They're starting to doubt themselves. They're starting to question themselves. So I thought that fight with Burns really answered a lot of questions and really showed that he is the real deal. He didn't want any part of Gilbert Burns' guard, which I'm not mad at him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be in that guard anyways or either. You know, like
he's a clamp. He has a clamp build.
Gilbert Burns is a legit black belt in jiu-jitsu. He is incredible on the ground. And it was part of the game plan, obviously. Like, do not go in this man's guard. What he did with Kevin Holland was he just... All I'm seeing is that stupid fake attempt. I know.
It's also because it was an ugly jab, too. Like,
but I was really impressed with that takedown, though, because he shot what was it? Left leg lead. And he shot the double to the same side. So it wasn't like a traditional double.
Okay.
And then from there, it's kind of blurry. It was a while ago. I should have rewatched it.
Your age. Hey, fake glove tap. I just remember Holland grabbing for his life and almost getting out. He tried to get the wizard.
Yeah. He really tried. And when Chimaev got the Darson, you know, he fought it to the best of his ability. He was doing all of the right things, but that was a very tight choke. And you could just see him slowly inching tighter. And I mean, I have a friend and teammate that I train with that is great at those chokes. And it is just awful.
Yeah.
It is awful to be in. It hurts, it chokes. Like you don't know if it's from the pain or from the lack of oxygen, and you just keep trying to go. But once that thing is locked in, it's really challenging to break it. And Chimaev did a great job just holding on and making those tiny adjustments until Kevin Holland had to tap.
Dude, it looked like his shoulder popped out too. Like his shoulder was definitely strained to the point where he was asking the ref not to raise his hand or not to like wiggle his hand, not even to like touch his arm. Like if you watch the thing, he's holding his hand next to him, but he's not touching his arm. And you're like, fuck, like just defending something like that and getting your arm extended like that. Oh, it's brutal on the shoulders and stuff.
It's not a position where your shoulder and arm want to be in for any length of time, especially with that kind of strain, because you're trying to fight off the pressure of that lock with your arm isolated. And it's just... It's a tough position, and hats off to Holland for, you know, sticking in and just doing everything they could to defend it. He was put in a really tough position, like straight off the bat, and had to dig himself out of a hole. And, you know, unfortunately it didn't go his way, but it was an exciting lead up to the fight. I don't think it did anything to like Kevin Holland's, you know, fan base or his, you know,
he's still Batman.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
like I still want to see him fight. I think everybody wants to see him fight
for sure. So what do you think happens with Tony Ferguson after this one? It's a challenge for me at times because I'll put myself like in their position for sure
because I am one of those like older fighters. I'm a veteran. I have, you know, miles on me and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I put myself in that position, and I hear a lot of people in the media, you know, talking about his facial structure looks different. Well, yeah, we get punched in the face for a living, like it's going to change. I don't look the same as when I first started.
Neither do I.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And you know, there is wear and tear on the body. He has, you know, had surgeries and injuries and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he is, you know, getting up there in age, but I think, you know, he still, if he chooses to, can fight, but it's up to him, you know, and sometimes it gets frustrating listening to the media, like immediately go to like, oh, you should retire. You're too old.
Yeah. They love saying that though.
They do.
And I mean, they'll say it to anyone who is over 30.
They've said it to me before. They said it after I fought Karolina Kovacevic. They asked me if I thought that she should retire because of her losses, because of her age and stuff like that. That's none of my business.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like it's nobody's business or decision other than like the fighter.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of people have a lot of stuff to say, but when it comes down to it, it's Tony's decision. It's, you know, something to consider, you know, what direction he wants to go in his career. If he's going to try and make a title run, I don't think that is where he's, you know, going to go in his career for the remainder of it, but he can still, you know, compete when he wants to. He can still like call his own shots.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, like when we saw Dominic Cruz fight in San Diego against Chito Vera, he was still doing, you know, all these great reads. He was doing really good stuff. He was winning all the rounds, but, you know, the younger, stronger, faster fighter, you know, caught him in the end.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that Dominic still can't be competitive in fights and still, you know, can't pick his fights.
Like you have to look at the fight as a whole, not just the moment where shit went wrong. Yeah. Because a lot of times when you look at the fight as a whole, this fighter was doing everything that they had to do to win, you know, and then maybe like some shit happened. Maybe they got distracted for a second, like just taking your mind off the ball for 1 second or just putting your head in a place where it shouldn't be. Like it's so easy to make a mistake in MMA. And unfortunately, a lot of times you can't get that mistake back. You know, that mistake means that the fight is over. So in a fight where you win, you almost ignore the mistakes that you made because the outcome was what you wanted, you know? But like when you end up losing, then everyone's pointing a finger at like, oh, you made this mistake. Like that means you suck, you know? It's like, no, usually that doesn't happen. Like how many people, I was annoyed because people were really excited about that Eric Nixick tweet that happened. I don't know if you heard, but
what was it?
During the Dominic versus Chito Vera fight, Nixick said something like, "Oh, that left kick is there," or something like, "If he feints the right hand and throws the back kick, then the head kick's gonna be there." And it's like, if you watch any Dominic Cruz fight, that kick is always there, you know, but it's a matter of actually landing it. You know, you can always say, oh, you can throw this or you can land that, but Chito was good enough to actually land that kick.
And
on
it's
Dom.
not the first time he's like, that's kind of his move.
It's his style.
He's good at that move.
He's good at that move in the same way Leon Edwards is. And Dominic is good at ducking and feigning, which can lead you into that move. You know, it's just like a clash of styles, really. But I was annoyed with that because it's like, dude, anyone will make that read, but Dominic has been so good up to this point that he's been able to avoid those setups because he trains with kickboxers all the time. He knows when they're about to throw it and he'll get out of the way. This is the one time it didn't happen, and now everyone's saying, "Oh, he shouldn't be fighting that way." But I don't know. It's always a weird one where you start focusing too much on something that worked and ignoring everything that didn't work. Yeah. Or wait, the other way around. You focus too much on the one time that the person fucked up and not all the times that it was actually beneficial to them winning. So that was a long-winded rant. And
no, I feel you though.
But yeah.
I mean it's a tough, brutal sport. Mm-hmm. And anything can happen in this sport, and sometimes anything does happen.
Yeah.
And yes, there is something to be said about, you know, aging fighters and stuff like that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they can still be competitive.
Exactly.
Sometimes they just have to figure out, you know, a different way of training, a different way of preparing for the fight, going into the fight, different strategies. It's it's all about adaptation and figuring out what, works.
Yeah.
And from fights, we get to figure out what worked, what didn't work, and we get to move and grow from that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a tough lesson sometimes.
Yeah, it's really
is.
tough. It's really tough. I got the chance to talk to Joe Lozon on one of those shows recently, and we asked him if he was interested in a title run at all, and he said, "Hell no." He's like, "No, I'm just taking each fight, each fight as it comes, and I'm a prize fighter. Like, that's what I do. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm hoping that I keep getting these fights where it makes sense, where I'm fighting someone from the same era who's still active, but I'm not trying to go for a title run." And I think that that's the smartest thing to do. Once you get to that point, because dude, there's so many young guns coming up, and they're good and they're fast and they're strong, and who knows, you might end up accidentally stumbling across a title shot just because you've been killing it, just because you're on a win streak. But I think it's cool to just be okay with these other fighters being able to fight for that position, and then you're just having fun and doing what you spent a whole lifetime training to do.
Absolutely. Joe Lozon he's a vet, man. He has been in some wars. I love watching him fight.
Yeah.
And I don't care win, lose, or if he's, in the top 10 or whatever. I enjoy watching him fight. And that's a big point that you just said. It's like, for me, I enjoy fighting. I didn't for a while. It became a really challenging, difficult, hardship at one point. But I still love it. I love to train. I love to compete. And when I don't love it anymore, then I'll stop.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that I can't do it.
Yeah, nobody's forcing you to do it. Doing it because you want to be there.
I want to be
and
there.
That's the key.
I like it.
That really is the key. When you're at the old age of plus 30, like us, grannies,
oh my God. Send us out to
no man would want us.
Oh my God.
Unless they're into MILFs. But I need a sugar baby. Oh, that's the thing we should start. Just act like we're really old and we need a young millionaire to take
to
care
assist
of
us in life.
Please assist. To assist. That's like the perfect word. I'm falling and I can't get up. I need you to come get me, baby.
I need your assistance.
My hip hurts. Oh my God. Anyway, there were some good chick fights on 279 as well.
Okay,
we should get to that.
So I think, should we start with, we'll start with Dumont versus Wolf. Why do you react like that, Angela Hill?
You know why.
Tell me why.
Oh, God. So, this fight has been years in the making.
Set the scene.
Not the matchup, but this particular woman, the Wolf.
Danielle Wolf.
Ow, ow, ow. Who made it into the UFC with only one fight.
So she fought to get on, she fought in the Contender Series, won a fight.
That was her pro debut.
And then from there, she was signed to the UFC. She was supposed to fight originally, had to pull out due to injury, I believe. Angela Hill's face says otherwise.
Well, our friend Jenna Bishop, she's a 6-time, however many
She's
times.
a badass sport jiu-jitsu girl.
She's won a lot of shit.
She's choked a lot of people out. She's tapped a lot of people out. She's made a lot of people cry. And now she is venturing into the MMA world, and she is 3-0 now.
Yes, 3-0 against stiff competition. And Danielle Wolf was at one of our little Thunderdome trainings that we like to do. We'll get all the girls together in San Diego and go and spar somewhere.
Hashtag Team Coven.
Yeah, hashtag Team Coven. And Daniel Wolf is not in the Team Coven DM thread, just FYI. But she was there. She was there to get some rounds in. And she ended up eye gouging 3 different people on that sparring day because they were sparring in little gloves. So she would do that to get out of clinch positions or to get out of guard or whatever. And then she did it to Jenna in her last round. And Jenna said, no, you don't. And she grabbed her elbow and armbarred her. And it was, it was really funny because, well, not funny that Jenna got eye gouged and Thingy got armbarred, but it was funny because afterwards she did this self-righteous post. Did you see it? The elbow bar post?
No.
She said, unfortunately, I'm out of my fight because a training partner went real crazy and elbow barred me during sparring. Do you know what an elbow bar is?
I mean... okay, so, one could say that, this...
She's a little green.
Yeah, she's a little green. And, maybe she's not used to fighting with open-handed gloves because she comes from a boxing background.
Okay. Even though she's been training since, 2014?
Even though we can't find her boxing background.
Oh, shit. No one can. All the Olympics, so she's an Olympic boxer, but all the Olympic boxers who ever get a whiff of her name are like, we don't know that bitch. Or she's been saying she's an Olympic boxer for a long time, but she's never been on the team. So this girl, she's very fascinating because she's literally talked her way in to the UFC. She talked her way in. The Contender Series fight, she fought a girl who was a bantamweight. And
who won?
That girl won the fight, but
she won.
Dana White literally said, fuck it, I don't care, I'm signing her. Because I think he knew that lightning wouldn't strike twice. I think he knew that if he made her fight again, she was going to lose and he couldn't bring her into the UFC. So
he's trying to find, 145 girls.
They're out there. I know they're out there, I know they're out there, the good ones, and somehow this is what we get. But what are you going to do? It's a weight class. We have a champion. You got to feed her. You got to feed the champ. So I was thinking that, she looks the part. So you'd think that she'd be able to win a few, all you need are 2 wins in 145 and you get to fight the champ. And at least that's a sellable fight because Daniel Wolf looks like a big old scary girl.
Yeah.
She's big, she's strong, she's just very, very green.
Yes.
So that was a funny fight. She actually did way better than I thought she would against Norma Dumont. I think if anything, her size is the best thing about her. She's a Trojan horse, doesn't do anything. But she rolls up and she looks big as shit. Yeah, she looks big and you're like, oh shit, what's that horse do? And get scared of it because you're like, that's kind of scary. Maybe that's not really what a Trojan horse is, but she looks the part. So she looks like she's gonna knock you out in one punch. She looks like she probably has crazy skills in wrestling or whatever. But she really is a turtle on her back when she gets put to the ground. And her striking wasn't really much either for Norma Dumont to deal with because she also has extensive striking experience.
Yeah, Dumont was constantly, just out of range. Mm-hmm. And it only takes, a couple centimeters or an inch to make a difference. And she was great with the counters and stumbled Danielle. And in the second and third round, took her down and just executed. She really did anything she wanted when she wanted.
Yeah.
In this fight. It was, a bit of a Dumont clinic. If you want to book her for seminars, you know what you're going to get in that seminar because she showed all of her good stuff.
how to do that.
Yes, exactly.
I do worry for Danielle though, because the next matchup, the girl isn't going to be as afraid of her size because they saw what Dumont did, you know.
Yeah.
So she's really going to have to shore her game up with takedown defense, with just getting into range, because even like when she would whiff on punches, she was so far away. Like once Dumont realized that Danielle wasn't finding her range, that's when she took the fight over. It was somewhere around the second round, and she just realized all she had to do was kind of slip to the outside, throw a big overhand, and she was going to land on Danielle. So there's a lot of work that she has to do for this next fight, because now there's tape on her. Now you have 2 fights to look at, 2 fights to dissect, and sometimes that's all you need to really break down someone, even when they look the part, even when they have this like scary kind of stature walking in facing your opponent.
Yeah, she's definitely got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And it's a really challenging place to like learn and grow.
Yeah. I mean, I got into the UFC with 1 fight too. But it wasn't on Contender Series because they didn't have that when I got into UFC. But it's a really hard place to learn and grow. Like that's why I ended up getting cut and then working my way back in, because Shelby called me up after 2 losses and he's like, "Yeah, how many fights did you have when you got in?" 1. That's unheard of. Like,
no, it really is.
Get out of here, you know, basically like, get out of here, go get some fights, scrub. But
I know it hurt at the time, like,
yeah,
however, I feel like it really worked out in your benefit. You got great experience. You held the belt in Invicta, and you got all of that experience that the other people on the show already had.
Yeah, and I got to come in with a much better contract than I would have if I had just lost my next 3 fights, you know, because I'm fighting people with more experience.
Yeah.
So it actually did work out a lot better for me getting cut. But, you know, it's a tough stage to be on. And now I think she'll respect a little more. If she's smart, she'll buckle down and train a little harder, because we trained with her for a bit, and I'm sure she's gotten better.
You know what? Hopefully this really motivates her.
Yeah.
I mean, a loss can do, a couple things, and one, it can motivate you, and the other one, it can completely,
destroy you.
It really can.
Yeah. It can send you into a black hole where you don't want to crawl out.
Dark despair.
What about the other?
Okay, so can we talk about Irene Aldana and Macy? Is it Chiasson?
I think that's how you spell it.
Okay, so this was a catch weight of 140. And the first round, Irene Aldana came out and was doing really well. Second round, Macy did really well. And then the third round, Macy was on her way to secure 2 rounds, I believe. And it was almost halfway through the round, and Aldana was on her back and Macy was on her feet, and Aldana upkicked, hit Macy in the liver, and she fell. And I mean, these were not like, it was.
She did the Liu Kang. You remember the Liu Kang?
Did. Yeah. Yeah. Like they were just a bunch of fast, hard kicks, and it hit her right in the button and dropped, and it ended the fight. It was a pretty crazy finish.
It was so crazy. Did you know what happened when it happened?
No.
I thought she got kicked in the twat. Like, I was like, come on, it didn't hurt that much.
I was just really confused.
Yeah.
I was really confused.
And so was Irene. She was just like, oh no. I think she also thought that, like, she might have hit her in the crotch, because it looks like the same reaction when guys get hit in the crotch. It looks like the same reaction as a liver shot. Like they go into fetal position. Turtle. You just go, don't touch me. Don't look at me.
I'm in pain.
You shrivel up into a little tiny version of yourself.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the fight itself was interesting because I'm a fan of both of them. Yeah. I think that, they're both really talented fighters, and Aldana had been out for a little bit, and I was interested to see, the work that she put in, and she's always an exciting fight. She always, always brings it. She has great boxing. So she was doing some really good stuff in the first round, but she was on the ground and she was getting into position. It's like she knew the position, but she didn't know how to finish it or like exactly the mechanics to finish it. So it's like I can see all of her improvement with like her groundwork and stuff like that. And her boxing looked great and sharp. And then the second round, Macy, you know, took her down and they ended up in these positions and yes, I believe so. Don't quote me on that. It was a week ago. I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
You remember way more of the fight than I do. I just remember thinking Irene was going to smoke her and then thinking, oh man, Macy's going to take this fight. Like that's all I remember. And then I remember the up kick KO.
Yeah. So
Body KO.
Macy, I didn't think that she should go to the ground with her. It was an interesting decision because that's, you know, where there was like kind of like back and forths in the first round.
Right.
And then I think she recognized that Aldana knew the positions, but not know how to finish them. So I think she saw the advantage there.
Yeah. She thought she could get on top.
Yeah. That's why she continued to go to the ground. And then in the second round, it was clearly Macy's fight. And then in the third round, just that up kick.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. I think everybody was just, I was shocked. I really did not understand what had happened. I just knew that the fight was over.
Yeah, dude, she reacted so hard. It must have hurt like hell.
Dude, those liver shots. Like I remember the first time I ever sparred a boxer, like a legit, like male boxer.
Yeah.
And he was keeping me honest. He was giving me work, but he wasn't hitting me like too hard to the head, but he wasn't hitting me too hard to the body either. But man, he just tapped the right spot. And it's this delayed reaction where you're like, I'm good. And then your body just shuts down.
Yeah.
Your body completely shuts down and you have no choice but to go onto the ground and give yourself a hug.
Yeah.
Until you feel better.
You're like, oh, my diverticulitis.
Oh my God.
It hurts so much. Dude, the first time I ever got liver kicked was one of my first sparring classes. And I was sparring my coach's wife. And she was a lefty. So I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like I had no idea what was happening to my body. I'm like, I'm going to try to punch her in the face. And then I felt the shin hit me and I'm like, oh, that was kind of hard. And I'm like,
it's
like
awful.
Your body crunches in and then you go timber and you're just like, what is happening? Am I dying? Like...
Maybe.
It's a really horrible experience when you don't know what it is.
Yes.
Like, you're just like, what? I'm confused. Like, why can't I control myself right now?
Yeah.
It's really weird. So, man, when you know what it is, when you know how to fake it too, because that's the thing you get good at once you start fighting and sparring and everything. You get good at faking the liver shot. Like, someone hits you, you're like, oh, clinch. We're clinching. I wanted to do this. This is him because he hit me in the liver. I wanted to clinch you. You just find little ways to wait it out, you know, in the same way you would if you got rocked. But the way she reacted, you know, that was just right on the money. Wasn't expecting it. Nothing was flexed. She was just worried about passing the legs. And man, that's a dope shot. I'm gonna start using that now.
Everybody's just gonna go for the
hack that shit.
Yeah.
And
it works.
Yeah, go Irene. Because that fight definitely was not going her way until she landed that. So kudos to her. Like, man, she's a scrapper.
Absolutely. On that note, let's take a time out and we're gonna come back with our Fight Pass exclusive content. Hopefully you guys have gotten your subscriptions all handled. So
wait, what are we going to talk about?
It's a secret.
Our fights.
It's a secret.
Perhaps our fights. You should tune in.
Oh,
go subscribe.